Kristen, also known as Cake Mom, because I enjoy taking regular, ordinary cakes and with a few simple steps turning them into something special. I recently talked to my sister, and she has a daughter who absolutely loves RIO, the new movie about the bird that's come out, and she could not find anything RIO related to do a birthday cake for her daughter. So I enjoy coming up with templates to make your creating just a little bit easier. So let me show you what I came up with, and if you would like a copy of this, you can certainly comment to my YouTube page and I will be happy to email this to you if you put your email address in the comment. What I'd like to do is find a simple picture online that has simple shapes, and then I kind of puzzle the cake together. What I did here is I traced my 6-inch round cake and I traced my 9-inch round cake, and I puzzled the pieces together to create a RIO cake. And when you cut these pieces out, this up here is what you will come up with. So I cut out the pieces for the head, the body. This is the foot that actually was this way that you will turn over this way, and the tail and your wing, which you will piece together to make your RIO cake. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and baked, cooled and frozen my 6-inch round and my 9-inch round. I like to freeze them because they tend to cut a little bit easier and they tend to be less crumbly if they are frozen. So I'm going to take my head and actually just place it right on top of my 6-inch round, and I'm going to cut right on those dotted lines that I've already cut out for you. Just use a really sharp knife and cut right along those dotted edges. You will have a little cake here left over. Maybe your kids will enjoy snacking on the excess pieces of the cake. So I'm just cutting right along those dotted lines. And when you have it cut all the way through, just pull off your excess pieces. Let's make sure it's cut all the way through. And there you have the head to your RIO cake. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the body. I'm just going to place my piece right up on the cake and hold it there, and with your sharp knife cut along those edges. Make sure you don't move it around too much so that you get the proper shape. And I'm just going to cut right along the dotted lines. And because I have more pieces, I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to take my wing and I am going to cut out my wing, just like so. And I'm going to take my tail piece, trying to figure out how that was laid, just like so. And I cut off a little extra there, but I'm going to go ahead and use all of that for the tail. And then this piece right here actually was the foot, which I'm going to flip over. So now I should have all my pieces cut out. I'm going to move my pieces aside so that I can now piece together my RIO cake. So these are the pieces that we're using to puzzle together your RIO cake. And as you've seen, we've got it all cut out, we've got it all pieced together, and it's ready to be iced. Something that might help the cake to actually stay together is I actually like to use the icing like glue. So I put some icing right under RIO's head and kind of just popped it on top of the body. And you could do the same thing for the foot, just press it on there. I'm not going to do the wing yet because it's easier to ice it without the wing, but you could do the same thing with the tail. You can just give it a little icing to stabilize it and hold it together. So the next thing I'm going to do is make, your icing's all set and we're going to ice the cake. So I've got a nice blue icing that I already have made. It's the perfect RIO color. And I'm going to ice my cake blue. If you prefer, you can certainly take a star tip and star tip your entire cake, but for time's sake, I prefer just to ice my cake. Now that you've iced your cake blue and smoothed it out with a cake knife or a spatula, you can start to put the finishing touches on your cake. If you prefer, of course, you can star tip your entire cake, but that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of icing. So what I prefer to do is the majority of the cake, the large portion, is iced, and then I'm going to do some special touches around the cake. So I went ahead and put on RIO's eye. I used white icing in a circular fashion, but you know what would be easier is to just put an Oreo for the eye. Take the top off the Oreo and you've got the white filling, a perfect round circle. I didn't have an Oreo, so I just used my white icing, and I'm going to use a tiny Oreo for the pupil of his eye. Then I'm going to take my gray icing, and for the foot, I basically just squeezed and zigzagged gray icing for his foot. It took me literally seconds. And then for his beak, I am going to star tip by squeezing around his beak. And that will just take me a few moments as well, just to add some really neat, easy, quick finishing touches to your RIO cake. So there is his beak. And then for his wing and tail, I'm going to use my star tip with my blue icing, and I'm just going to add some lines to make it look feathery. I'm just pulling with my icing, and that's going to give it a feathery look for RIO, and you can even go over that a few times on top of it just to give it like a textured, feathery look. And then for the top, you can star tip it, or you can just squeeze icing on the top to make feathers. If you want to ice it with your knife for a smooth effect, you can do that as well, but this gives it kind of a neat textured look. And go all the way around the wing, and then if you would like around the base, you can also do some sort of texturing, a star tip, or you can just do your lines as well, just to get your cake completely covered. And if you want to be really fancy around the edge, you can even do some kind of a border around the edge of your cake, or you can leave it simple and plain. It looks just as good. So here's your finished product of your RIO cake. And my message to you is, you don't have to spend a lot of time, and you certainly don't have to spend a lot of money buying special cake molds, buying special figurines to put on top of your cake, or going to an expensive bakery. With a few simple tools and a few pans, you can put together a really spectacular cake. This is Cake Mom, and I hope to see you again next time.